There are some lies in our science books. Taught it for 15 years. Even though I'm not teaching it anymore, I still like to study. It's so many neat things to learn. We're going to cover some of that tonight.
Perception is being managed. We are being steered and guided by a hidden hand.
The whole world has been duped by the media that is not real.
Smart thinking, possible time traveler, smart thinking.
That night, boom, contact memory.
And then just, Alex, if you don't agree, you'll be sent to a re-education camp.
Just because I'm old doesn't mean I've lost my touch with the ladies.
A lot of people here tonight felt like they lost. You know why?
Now, experts are suggesting that we're in a golden age of shape-shifting reptilian sightings. Now, why is that?
I was, and still am, a huge conspiracy guy. I literally ran out of new tin hat topics to research.
It was most definitely not capable of melting steel.
Then I would be a crackpot if I thought that was the case.
Welcome to the Hypothetical Institute, a podcast about conspiracies.
My name is Luke.
I'm Salt.
I'm Cam. How are we, gentlemen?
Good, good. How are you?
Wonderful.
Yeah,
all the better for talking to you boys.
Ah,
thanks, ma'am.
That's nice. Been up to anything exciting, Luke? You've got a lot of excitement going on. I don't know if you're ready to mention it yet, or if
I think we've mentioned it on the news show, and I think we touched on it on the main show.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we actually said it, did we?
No.
Yeah, sure. No.
Anyway, I'm moving back to New Zealand in December, in like exactly a month, as we record, to open a brewery.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. A lot of stuff going on in my life.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff. How about
That's exciting, man. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you. Watch this space. No doubt I'll give everyone more of a rundown once we closer to the time and closer to opening. We're still a wee way from actually being able to open. But yeah, moving to my hometown.
Of all the people that I know, if they come to me and was like, fuck, I'm going to open a brewery.
Yeah.
You're the only person that I would trust to actually make it a success.
Okay.
I think everyone else in my life would fuck it up.
Okay.
Hey, hang on.
That's
including
fair.
Cam.
That's completely fair.
I reckon I could give it a go.
Yeah.
What is it? Just hops and water, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Got some yeast in it.
Look, it is
they
good.
can make it in prison.
No, they can't. You're thinking of Pruno. That's not.
Isn't that what you're doing? You're not opening a Pruno brewery?
Oh, I'd like to make it. Make some Pruno. Do it in a toilet bowl.
All the ingredients have to be brought in a prison wallet.
Yeah, it's just mushed up bread and fruit cups, fermented in a plastic bag.
So
even I know even how to make Pruno. That's how qualified I am.
Yeah. All right. What are we talking about this week?
Well, before we get into that, let me ask you guys boys a question.
What's this?
Sphinx says what?
What?
Exactly. It's a question that we've been asking for millennia.
Sphinx says what?
What is the Sphinx?
Got me. What is the Sphinx?
It's a bloke with a lion's head.
Yeah, not actually a Sphinx.
Or isn't it a lion with a bloke's head?
Dude's head.
Yeah.
I've got a little riddle for you if I can have a go.
Okay.
Is this the riddle of the Sphinx?
Yeah. What's a baby in the morning, a bloke in the afternoon, and an old man at night?
What?
Just like a really fast aging man.
High-speed reverse Benjamin Button.
Yeah.
That's your joke?
Is it? No. It was a little meta. That's not how because that's not how the riddle of the Sphinx goes.
I don't know the riddle of the Sphinx.
Oh, well, then it was sort of wasted on you. The riddle
I didn't know what we were doing. I thought I was like, I don't know about this.
The riddle of the Sphinx is what walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs in the daytime, and 3 legs at night. And it's man.
And
crawling around as a baby, walking around as a dude, and then with a cane as an old fella.
Right, and it's like night is referring to the
length of a life.
Yeah.
What's that got to do with the Sphinx?
That's the riddle of the Sphinx, isn't
Right.
it?
I don't know. You're the one that brought this to the table.
That's what I've always known as the riddle of the Sphinx. I don't know is it written there somewhere?
Is it the riddle of the Sphinx, or is it like the riddle of? I feel like Oedipus gets asked this riddle, maybe by a Minotaur or something.
Oedipus and the riddle of the
Sphinx's
Sphinx.
riddle.
Oh, it is the Sphinx that asks this of Oedipus.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Firstly, that's a fairly simple riddle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
And
not back
secondly?
in old Oedipus times.
Yeah,
No,
they hadn't had years of trying to work out how the Doctor could operate on their son when their dad was also in the car crash.
Maybe if that had been the riddle of the Sphinx, that could have saved Oedipus some trouble.
It makes a lot more sense to be the riddle of the Sphinx if that was the case with Oedipus.
How could this old man of my father's age be my father? Anyway, we don't need to be having a go at Sophocles on the podcast for his poor story writing.
We'll save that for the patrons.
So the Sphinx is a big statue with the body of a cat and the head of Ramses II, right?
Not technically not a Sphinx. So a Sphinx is like body of a lion but face of a woman and winged.
Right.
So it wasn't called the Sphinx for years up until I think 2000 BC. So it had already been around for 2000 years.
Right.
Or something like that. And then they're like, oh, it's just like these Greek things that we call sphinxes.
Yeah.
It said it was a Sphinx.
That's why I got a bit confused, because I was like, wait, why was there a Sphinx in Oedipus then? If it was this Egyptian thing.
No, but I think that was to do with the Great Sphinx of... Oh, hang on, where's Thebes? Yeah, it is an Egyptian thing.
Yeah.
That's one, yeah.
All right.
But, I don't know. Let's not solve the riddle of Oedipus because we're not prepared for it.
No.
Yeah, so super old statue. One of the biggest monoliths. Did you guys see that it was a monolith?
Why is it a monolith? What makes it a monolith?
It's carved from one piece of limestone.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Not anymore, though.
The bottom of it's all bricks and stuff, right?
Yeah, it's been, I think, constantly upgraded and bits added and bits taken off and smoothed over.
I did see one, because limestone's not very good, right?
What do you mean? Jeez.
Well, I saw...
It's easily eroded.
Yeah, there were a lot of debates about the erosion of the Sphinx.
And this is one of the biggest conspiracy things about it, right?
Yeah.
Is the age of it based on erosion.
We'll talk about that in a second, but you found some heated debate about the Sphinx. I also found some quite heated debate, like some real classic internet flame wars.
Right.
Which was great, but also like everyone sort of just agreed. As much as people were having a go at each other and invoking Godwin's law and all the great things of a flame war, everybody agreed, oh, limestone's shit. This is just the shittest rock.
Wait, isn't that what cement is made out of?
It's food for thought there.
Yeah,
limestone mixed with a bunch of other stuff, right?
Yeah.
Sand and water and...
Yeah, so it's pretty good.
Plenty of sand in Egypt.
Yeah, you add a couple of things that are pretty common around the world, and you got cement. Limestone. Still a winner after all these years.
Just a classically terrible stone.
Limestone. The shittest.
So the head of it. Do you guys... The interesting part about the head of it is it's a yardang, or a yadang, I don't know how to say it. Yardang.
Okay.
So which is basically a stone, in this case limestone, that's been eroded back and it kind of sticks up out of the sand because everything else is eroded around it, and quite often they end up forming faces or people see animals in them and stuff. So I think what's happened here is that was like the top of the Sphinx before they kind of dug all down into the limestone part, into the main part, and it just eroded and kind of looked like a face, and they went, oh yeah, if we just nip a bit off here and sculpt a bit here, we've got a pretty cool face, and then we dig down and build the rest of it.
We've saved ourselves a lot of trouble.
Absolutely. Don't have to move anything. We don't have to get all these slaves to move all these bricks.
Yeah, we don't have to call on our alien mates to hover things around for us.
The aliens pop down. You guys need a hand? No,
we've got it. We just took a rock that was already here and knocked a bit off it.
What do you guys came all this way to help? It's a bit awkward.
Yeah.
So yarding. So that's.
Do you want to give us some computers? Or were you just here to help us move some rocks? Cheers.
Do you want to share your spaceship with us?
Thanks for your advanced technology, though.
Cool free energy. You going to share that?
So, are we going to? What are we going to now? Are we going to the alien?
Let's talk about the erosion thing.
Okay, what's the erosion thing?
Oh, people are they're so keen on it being older than. I don't know why they want to take it away from the Egyptians. Well, I think we know why. We've discussed this, but yeah, there's a lot of ancient alien guys who are like, nah, the erosion doesn't add up. But I also saw people being like, oh, this is like way more eroded than you even know, because they reckon the face of it has fallen off. They reckon it used to be a full lion.
Yeah. A full lion, because that's what the aliens look like, mate, from Sirius.
Jeez. That all makes sense now.
And that's what it was modeled after originally. Then Ramses come along, Ramses II famously just went and got all his mates to carve his face over everyone else.
Yeah. Gave him a beard, right?
Knock that freaking lion face down to my face, please.
Yeah.
Which is why the head's got a little pinhead, giant lion body.
There's a pinhead.
I saw some people being like, look how small the head is. And I was like, that is somewhat compelling.
Because the head was the only part sticking out for like centuries after it got covered in sand. So it's going to be whittled away.
Yeah. So you reckon you can explain that away by being like the head was out, exposed to the elements, was actually getting properly eroded.
Yeah. And also it's not a one-to-one statue of an animal. No other part of it is one-to-one.
But when you look at the head, it's like, it's pretty rough. Its nose is gone. But the body's way more fucked than the head is. Which is where the whole theories of the body, the erosion on the body, like, is more like erosion that would be caused by water or rain and floods.
Yeah, so there's the main guy that pushes that is Robert Schock. I watched a bit of him on Rogan. He did Rogan a couple of years ago to explain all this. And it was quite funny because every time you watch Rogan with someone like that, they'll say something kind of ridiculous and Joe will be like, sorry, can you explain that to me? And they won't explain it at all. And he'll be like, yeah, interesting. It's like, you don't understand that. So basically the theory is that it predates when it was first built because there was no rain in Egypt since then, since we thought it was built. So if there's water erosion, where did that water come from?
Way back when the whole climate was different there.
Which isn't true. They've worked out that it rained a crap load since many years.
Doesn't it rain in Egypt?
Not that much.
Every now and then, though.
It's a desert, mate. If it rained all the time, it would just be a big mud plain.
Yeah. But, there was a long period of rain after it was built. After everyone thinks it was built. Whereas these people's like, nah, no way. Or there was like floods that seeped in floods that took it over, or the actual water was the flood, or the actual water was lapping at the Sphinx, so it was in the time when water was covering that part of the world.
Yeah.
Which would be way harder to build a Sphinx.
Lapping at the famously shit sandstone.
Yeah.
that the Sphinx was made out of.
I saw one guy say that it was 800,000 years old.
Right.
Which I think was this theory. This was on a YouTube channel called After School. School is spelt with a K. And it looks like an educational fun, maybe you're a preteen and you want to learn a little bit about a science thing. It looks like one of those, like all the artwork for all the start of the show episodes. It's like drawn on a whiteboard with colors and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a science thing. Look at this simple diagram we're drawing. And then you start watching it and you're like, oh, this is cooked. And it's got like a lot of Jordan Peterson stuff on there. Some Russell Brand cooked stuff was on there. like it just gets into alternative history stuff, and you're like, oh, this is like what's the audience for this? But yeah, they were talking about that as well. It was like because they then post like a video of a cooked guy talking about it, and he was one of the guys on it was British. So when he said geezer, it sounded like he was saying geezer.
Geezer.
Oh, you go to geezer because he actually had I don't know what accent that is, but it was
London.
Yeah. But he was claiming it could be 800,000 years old, which is just way too old. There's no way it is.
No.
Yeah, there are some other things around the water thing of like it just seeped in. There's water going through the sand all the time.
Mm.
And also there's tons of evidence for when they think it was built.
Yeah.
And no evidence for a civilization that predates that.
Chuck some silica gel in there.
Oh, yeah?
Mix it in. Keep it nice and fresh. Do we want to talk about the secret chamber?
Yeah.
Neath,
what do you know about?
Neath the paw?
What's neath the paw?
Neath the paw.
What is that?
Beneath.
Oh, beneath. Beneath the paw. I see what you're saying. You're trying to give it some gravitas.
I was trying to give it a bit of gravitas because it's so fucking stupid otherwise. So, are you familiar with Edward Casey?
Yeah, we've talked about this guy before.
Edgar Casey, I should say. Yeah, we have the Sleeping Prophet.
Yep.
When I watched a video about him before, they called him the Sleepy Prophet, which is slightly less distinguished than the Sleeping Prophet, which is already not a great nickname.
Yeah. What's the Sleeping Prophet do? What's your...
Well, his thing was having a snooze, wasn't it?
Yeah, basically.
And then waking up with some prophecies.
He fell asleep on a school book once and then woke up and he's like, I know everything in the school book.
Yeah.
And then he just started diagnosing people from a distance. I don't know what episode. We did it on we talked about it on a recent episode, but yeah.
Anyway, he would make it diagnose people from afar using his sleep powers, but he also would recount his past lives. One of which was he Ramses or was he just someone in?
I think a high priest or something.
Yeah, a high priest in the court of Ramses. So he was around for the construction of the Sphinx,
right?
And so he's like, well, obviously because I was there, I know that we put in a hidden chamber underneath one of the paws. And that's where we kept all of the secret knowledge of the Atlanteans because we had to keep it safe. So we thought, where else to put it? Where's the safest place you could put the accumulated knowledge of the lost civilization of Atlantis? Let's put it under a shitty limestone paw. Like, let's find the worst stone we can get, and we'll use that. We'll use that to protect the, essentially Google of the day. This is what I saw someone refer to it as.
Oh, that was the History Channel guy.
Yeah, if we could get in there, it'd be like we'd have Atlantean Google.
Yeah. We'd just be like, oh, we can kind of carve soft stone pretty easily.
Yeah.
Oh my God, these secrets are just mind-blowing to us.
So he reckoned that, they'd put this secret chamber under there. Years later, like decades later, a bunch of people went to Egypt to excavate the chamber to get in there. Now, the thing I saw on the History Channel was like they had permission until they were about to find the chamber when the Egyptian army stopped them, which makes me think, actually, you didn't have permission. Or perhaps the Egyptian authorities might have been a little slow to realize that the reason you thought there was a chamber was not because of any sort of archaeological information that you'd received, but because a guy like 60 years previously had had a dream. And at that point, they made him like, hang on, we need you to stop putting holes in our wonder of the world. Is it a wonder of the world, right?
I think it was one of the ancient wonders, yeah.
Yeah.
Although we did a family quiz recently, and one of the questions was name the 7 ancient wonders and then the modern wonders. Oh, I got like 2. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So
what is it? The Hanging Gardens of Babylon?
I think that was one.
The Lighthouse at Alexandria?
Ancient.
The Sphinx?
Ancient wonders.
some statue of some bloke in
Seven
Greece.
Wonders of the Ancient World. Are you ready?
Yeah, lay it on us.
You got the Great Pyramid of Giza, so not the Sphinx.
Okay.
Hanging Gardens of Babylon, Statue of Zeus, Temple of Artemis, Mausoleum of Halicarnassus. Just a side note, that's one of my favourite wonders to build in Civilization 6. If you get a good coastal city in that, you can really get some good yields.
Yep.
Colossus of Rhodes, the Lighthouse of Alexandria.
Yeah, I feel like the PR departments, a couple of those wonders could probably put in a bit more work.
What you want to do is get them into Civilization games, which I think all of these might be in a way, might all be in there. But you want to have one that has a really good yield on a coastal tile, and then we'll remember it.
Yeah.
Plus, it helps if you can still see them. Like, I think most of them are gone, right? Except the pyramid.
Yeah, it helps if you have a KFC nearby that people can sit in the KFC or the Pizza Hut or whatever it is and just look out and see it.
What are the modern wonders of the world?
Modern. I think they're like the modern wonders,
like the Suez Canal or something like that.
Yeah, maybe. And there's also like natural wonders. They've started adding subcategories as well. So just keep it. So some of these seem like they're ancient to me. This is the new 7 wonders of the world. This is the Swiss Foundation launched a campaign to determine that.
Right.
Because you can't see the old ones. So let's update it with stuff we can see. Let's forget those other ones. They didn't have the staying power. You've got the Great Wall of China.
Right.
You've got the Chichen Itza.
What?
Chichen Itza in Mexico.
Sorry. It's also on Civ 6, and every time I see it, I call it a Chichen Itza in my head. So it's Chichen Itza. Petra, another good one for desert yields in Civ 6. Machu Picchu.
I knew that would have to be in there.
Christ the Redeemer.
Oh, yeah.
The Colosseum. The Taj Mahal.
Oh, yeah.
Also on the site, this is Britannica.com. This article that's spitting me below it is 9 noteworthy bog bodies and what they tell us. And it's just 9 bogs around Britain. Oh, no, these are in the Netherlands.
And what they tell us is it just like shit they've found that's fallen into the bog and died?
Yeah, it's pretty much, we found a dude that fell in here and died.
Right.
Look how old he is. All right. If you want bog news, head to Britannica.com.
Yeah.
There's a website somewhere, I don't know if you guys ever saw it. This is a bit of a shoey, sorry. That was like, they were cleaning out the canals in Amsterdam. And there's this website where you can see all of the little bits and pieces of shit they've pulled out of the Amsterdam canals.
Oh, yeah.
And they've laid it all out chronologically in the year that they were from.
Oh, yeah.
Going back to fucking pottery from a long time ago. And surprising amount of guns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Rusted out gun frames that they've raked out of the Amsterdam canals. But yeah, really interesting. A lot of cool stuff in there.
I just pulled up an article on the Daily Mail of that. You wouldn't believe what Grant Denya's up to. No, they've got the first 2 photos of artifacts are a 20 or a super old bone, doesn't say when, and then a Philips phone, a little mobile phone from 2000.
I feel like Amsterdam is a great country to be a gangster, or a great place to be a gangster because you've got so many canals to throw your guns into.
Yeah, just ditch your guns in there.
But on the other hand, you're like, what are we using all these guns for? Well, we're going to sell some weed.
I'd probably say the legal sex trade would probably be a big part of it.
Yeah.
So,
they have a legal sex trade.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, now. Maybe
yeah.
they didn't at some time.
I don't know enough about it to comment. Also, for people putting people in concrete boots, you don't have to travel too far to the river.
Yeah, it's handy.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is there are pros and cons to being a Dutch gangster.
You can get a spot outside at the cafe after you've done your crime and just hoof it in from your seat. Hoof your gun in from the seat.
So anyway, they tried to dig up this chamber, and the army was like, nah. And they're like, we were so close. It was either the chamber or it was just like a crack. So it was one of those 2 things.
What I couldn't find, because there's a lot of different information about this. I couldn't find if there were actually chambers underneath. And I think there are a couple. And I
I
found
always
some.
remember hearing about like they had done seismic fucking testing and shit and found that there was some stuff.
Yeah, I don't think they're big though. But like, because there's so many History Channel's bloody doing alien theories on it. So they think there may be naturally formed cavities under there, and they've seen but I don't think they want to drill into them because it's made of a really bad rock.
Yeah, you don't want the Sphinx to fall over.
Oh, also on the ancient history one about Giza, they had someone saying there's another Sphinx. They reckon there's going to be two because in Egyptian art, like things were done in twos a lot.
Right.
Which is a crazy statement to me when the pyramids are right behind them and there's not two pyramids. But one guy commented, the non-existent Sphinx is almost as interesting as the one we can look at.
Yeah, almost.
Almost. Just if only we could find it.
So maybe there's actually three, one for each pyramid.
Oh, maybe. But then that goes against the everything's in twos.
Yeah.
And they're showing like corridors, around that part of the world where it's like you see on either side there's a Sphinx guarding the corridor, or there's a Sphinx-like thing. So yeah, because there's corridors have two walls. You're not just going to put one on one side and not.
Yeah, you got to make it even, balanced.
Yeah.
So should we get into some full alien gear?
Yeah. What do you got?
Well, can I tell you just the explanation of the Sphinxes that comes from a book, The Cannabis Health Index.
Okay, that's the place you want to go to for your Sphinx info.
Well, this book is this person on Reddit says, this book is mostly all science. Okay. But I think this might be a slight divergence from the science part. So apparently what went down is the warrior gods from the star system Orion were hoofing around the universe.
Mm.
And they came across a little planet you might know as Sol number 3, the third rock from the sun.
Oh, that's us.
That's us. And they were fascinated by this watery world of ours and the sheer abundance and variety of life. So they thought they'd muck around a bit.
Yeah. Look at all this moisture. We can do a lot of things here.
Yeah.
So they started cloning beasts with humans just to see what would go down. And just fucked it up. Like just all of these animal-human hybrids like, oh, no, kill me. And that's how we got Cyclopses, Centaurs, Medusas, and Sphinxes.
What's a Cyclops?
One eye.
Blended.
Yeah.
No, I know what it is, but like,
what's the blend?
Yeah. It's because there's no famously one-eyed animals, is there?
I don't think so. But yeah, I think it was just, they were mucking around and they made all of these things, which we think are just of mythology, but actually the reason they're from mythology is because they were wandering around being like, oh no,
right,
kill me. I don't want to be a horseman.
Don't look at me. I'm the Medusa. But kill
we
me.
know Jason knocked off a Medusa and a Cyclops.
Do we?
Jason and his Argonauts.
I don't know. I know that. I know the name of that. I don't know what it is though.
So that was the Oronians, the Orionians.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, the Pleiadians and the Syrians, noticed this going on. I guess because they're so close, and they're like, "Can you stop that? Stop mucking around, making weird animal-human hybrids that are just constantly screaming to be killed. It's just harshing our vibe in a massive way." So they fucked off the Orions, and then they're like, you know what though, we should start rooting these humans.
Oh, that's how we got angels, right? Was that the?
Also,
no, that was the angels. Oh, that's how we got angels. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, I think that the idea is that this is sort of like how we got modern humans rather than primitive humans. It's because of this melding of our DNA with the Syrians and the Pleiadians.
Right.
And then we get into the cannabis thing. If you have a little chuff, that is what reminds you of your stellar inheritance and the abilities that are of your forebears.
When I have a little chuff, it just reminds me that I should watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia because that'll be fun. I never have that experience.
Maybe in ancient times that's what they did, though, and that's what you're remembering.
They watched it. They didn't even have.
They watched It's Always Sunny in the Pleiadians.
Okay. We've got all these sexy or alien stuff happening. I'm not saying they're sexy, unless.
Mm-hmm.
Then how do they get the pyramids?
This didn't go into the pyramids at all. This was just explaining why they made a statue of a lion.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So
head.
it was to honor that time.
It's like they're just making statues of what they can see. They're like, oh, there's a lion with a lady's head on it. Let's make a statue of it.
Mm.
And there's a Medusa. Let's make a statue of it. Let's make some stories about this real thing that we can see.
Is there a Medusa statue somewhere?
I don't know. There'd be lots of statues around a Medusa, wouldn't there?
Well, yeah.
There'd have to be a Medusa statue like in front of the mirror.
Wait, is that how Medusa died? They held up a mirror.
It'd have to be something like that.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert.
Jason or whoever it was. I don't know if I'm mixing up Jason and Jason and the Argonauts definitely had the Cyclops. I think. Anyway, his shield was reflective on the backside, and when she turned around to make him go to stone, he's like flipped it around, and she saw herself and got fucked by her own stone Gorgon vision.
What has become your greatest weapon is your downfall.
Could have been, I don't know. If your thing is anyone who looks at me turns to stone, or anyone I look at turns to stone, I reckon, just check for mirrors.
How can you look at everything from an angle?
Yeah.
Like TV effects. You shoot it from an angle so you don't show up.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. But I mean, mirrors aren't super common. If you've just spent your life pumping around turning everyone to stone, chances are you haven't encountered a mirror, so you don't know what to look out for.
No. Also, it was ancient times. It's like definitely a harder story to pull off in 2021.
Yeah. A lot less mirrors.
Everyone's doing bloody selfies.
Yeah.
I think the amount of effort to take a bit of bronze and polish it up to the point where it's a mirror, back in those days, there wouldn't have been many mirrors kicking around.
True.
No. So I found evidence, according to this article that I read on the ET database, etdatabase.com. They found an ancient sphinx on Mars.
Oh shit!
And it's not the famous Mars face. This article I've just put into our chat. Ancient sphinx found on Mars Hill, proof of religious creatures thriving on Mars.
Like a turtle sphinx.
Yeah, there's a photo. It comes from like one of the rovers.
I'm assuming they've added the green.
They've added the green. Yeah. If you scroll down a little bit, there's the rest of the photo.
Yeah, there's the rest of it.
And yeah, it looks like, I don't know, if you're carving a sphinx, it looks just like someone that's just kind of gotten a bit tired and had to lie down is how they've kind of carved it. Like they're face down on the ground. Like, I've had enough of this bloody hanging out on Mars. It's the least compelling evidence of a sphinx I've ever seen.
Did you come across the Russian Boryska Kipriyanovich?
I don't think so.
The Russian child genius,
who
claims he was born on Mars, and also claims that the Egyptian Sphinx holds the secret that will change life on Earth forever.
Whoa.
This is from a story in the Irish Sun, so not just the Sun. I will note that the first sort of graphic in this story has the caption, "Boryska has baffled his parents and experts with his amazing knowledge of the galaxy." And then it has a photo of this kid in front of like the most basic child's drawing of the sun and the earth and like two dots. And it's like, is this supposed to be the amazing knowledge that he's baffled us with? He claims that his people, the Martians, have a strong connection to the ancient Egyptians. And if you can just tickle the ear on the Sphinx, right, you'll be able to find the opening mechanism to crack open the Sphinx and get at the secrets inside.
A little bit of foreplay.
Unfortunately, the Martians, they're all dead. They had a nuclear war.
Oh no, with themselves, they were their own destruction.
Yeah. So the weird thing is, he says we could travel in time and space flying in round spaceships, but we would observe life on Earth on triangular spaceships.
Right.
What? Why?
I don't know why, but
maybe you think, right? In space, no resistance from anything.
Yeah.
So a circle can just go anywhere. On Earth, wind resistance, gravity, a triangle is going to be more aerodynamic.
Yeah, if you want to be zipping around.
To cut through the atmosphere.
No, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so be all smooth and round in space where you're just popping around wherever you want. But you don't want to come to Earth and then suddenly your circle spaceship just works like shit in the atmosphere.
You're having to refuel constantly.
Yeah. It's just like, why are we using up all that fuel? Oh, it's because of all the fucking drag on this huge circular thing we've got going on.
Any more alien gear? Is that it for aliens?
I think that's pretty much it. It was like, I remember reading. I remember reading years ago. I got like really into reading about all that kind of shit with Sirius and that, and it being sort of cat-based alien worship thing, and then the whole Ramses tube chipping his head into it, because he did that with a lot of stuff, right? In Egypt, there's a lot of stuff that has his face on it that didn't originally have his face on it,
right?
Because he was just like, nah. I'm the man now.
This will look way better with my face.
I'm the man now. Get out there and fucking, if it's got someone else's face on it, chuck mine on there.
Did you guys read about the nose? Why it's missing a nose?
Why picked it too much, fell off. Didn't listen to his dad or his weird uncle.
Loads of cocaine, basically. Just ripped it right off. No, this is a question that was posed to Cora. Did Hitler shoot Sphinx? And the answer to that one is no.
Yeah.
The Sphinx nose was missing before Hitler was born.
I saw an illustration from like fucking 1700s or something when it was still just a head sticking up, no nose.
The other theory is that Napoleon, the French Hitler, as they call him, he shot it off with a cannon.
Yeah.
But again, no.
I'm pretty sure the illustration I saw said it was pre-Napoleon.
yeah, it is.
Probably to prove that point.
Someone else has replied to that one with a real smug reply. So the question, did Hitler shoot Sphinx? This person said, are you referring to the Sphinx in Egypt? Yes. Oh, good. To get a conviction in a court of law, you need to prove motive, means, and opportunity. Motive. Why would Hitler want to shoot the Sphinx? Means. Did Hitler have the things needed to shoot the Sphinx? I mean, yeah, he famously had a whole army. Finally, opportunity. Was it physically able for Hitler to have shot the Sphinx? Hitler only had the means to shoot the Sphinx. That is, he had lots of guns, but that in itself does not say that he did. Hitler may very well have known that the Sphinx... Anyway, this goes on. It's just like, he didn't, because it happened years before he was alive. Like, this whole answer sucks. He really made the most annoying reply.
Yeah.
You're like, well, he did have guns, so he could have. Yeah. Doesn't matter. So, yeah, I guess we can conclusively say that Hitler did not shoot the Sphinx.
No, neither did Napoleon.
All right.
Hang on, I got one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is just about dung beetles. I got two more things.
Yep.
One about dung beetles.
Yep. Lay it on us.
And one about Elon Musk. I was trying to make Elon Musk as a dung beetle joke, and I couldn't get there.
Yeah.
The first one is Elon Musk tweeted something about like maybe the pyramids, were built by aliens.
Yeah.
He said aliens built the pyramids of. This is July 31, 2020. He was just smoking weed with Grimes at the time. And then like he got into a spat with like the Egypt's Minister of International Cooperation. He's just like, can you not? You idiot. I follow your work with a lot of admiration. Invite you and SpaceX to explore the writings about how the pyramids were built and also to check out the tombs of the pyramid builders. Mr. Musk, we're waiting for you. Don't invite Elon Musk into your pyramid. No. Explore the writings. Yeah, cool. Elon Musk, stay at home.
Yeah.
You do damage to things.
He's going to try and take his Tesla into the chamber in the middle of the pyramid to see if he can charge it.
He also
I bet you it
backtracked.
just charges if I put it in the middle of the pyramid, and that'll prove that the aliens built it.
He backtracked soon after, once given some evidence. He said, "I found the tombs of the pyramid builders that tell everyone that the builders of the pyramids are Egyptians and they were not slaves," he said. And then he later tweeted a link to a BBC history site about the lives of the pyramid builders, saying the BBC article provides a sensible summary for how it was done.
What? Yeah. Anyway,
I also note that the BBC is. I'm reading this on the BBC, and they're pulling out the Elon Musk followed up by saying we are very handsome and really good at our job.
Yeah, it's not really doing you any favors. The BBC. Dung beetles.
So dung beetles, they navigate using the Milky Way. So because they're a big part of Egyptian, you see them, the scarab beetles.
Yeah.
Depicted in a lot of places.
They roll the sun across the fucking universe, mate.
Yeah. And so that was kind of, what do the Egyptians know about the beetles? Because they use the Milky Way to navigate.
Yeah.
Do they?
They like the White Album. They're not too big on Sgt. Pepper's.
They use the Milky Way to navigate. And Cam, your reaction was, do they? I looked it up, and yeah, they do. In the sense of scientists have worked out that beetles, they go and get their dung ball. They have to fight off other beetles to get it, and they roll it into safety, out of the desert to somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And they seem to do it pretty much in a straight line from where they've come from.
Yeah. So they go from a straight line from one spot to another?
Well, no, because they've got to go collect all the dung first from different places.
Right.
Cam, don't try and own dung beetles that are clearly doing some amazing work. So one of the ways that they tested this in a lab was they made little cardboard hats for the beetles.
Nice.
So they couldn't see up.
Yeah.
And then they got lost. The ones wearing the little cardboard hats just went around in circles, were the ones that could look up at the sky and use what was up there as a compass. Could roll their little dung away.
What about if they were inside?
They were inside for this test, so they made fake sky.
All right. So they're just using the sky to do this. They're not necessarily be like, this is the Milky Way. They're just like, the Milky Way is a nice straight line to follow.
So they are using the Milky Way, yes.
All right. But you could just you could confuse them by putting some Christmas lights up.
Yeah. I mean, now that we've proven that dung beetles might be a little bit smarter than you, it's really, really pathetic of you that you're trying to confuse them with Christmas lights.
Well, I can tell the difference between Christmas lights and the Milky Way. So,
did they project the Milky Way accurately and then rotate it 180 degrees and see if the beetles went the other way?
It's possible. It's a whole NPR article that I didn't read the entire. I got to the cardboard hats and I went, this is the right thing to talk about on the podcast.
Yeah. Let's assume they did, because I think they would have.
Yeah. All right. Well done, dung beetles. Is that what you wanted? Is that what you wanted from me?
I mean, yeah. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, good job, guys.
So there's someone won a Nobel Prize for these little hats as well. And I'm looking at a beetle with a little hat, and it's good. Look, I expected more rudimentary, like a child made it because it's made out of cardboard. It's not that rudimentary, but still fun though.
All right. Well, good work to the Nobel Prize scientists as well.
I'm just
Thank you,
looking
Cam.
at the little cardboard hats.
They look like helmets.
Oh, that's bloody great. They look like little fucking beetle warriors.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So me and Salty are on Team Dung Beetle. Cam, I don't know what team you're on, but
I'm on the team as well. It's fine. Yeah. All right. Well, that's the Sphinx.
Yeah. What do you think? Aliens?
No, it was
Probably.
a bunch of Egyptians.
There was a bit of wind carved out a rock, and they went, oh yeah, make this into a face.
Half the job's done. Let's do it.
Oh, one thing, I was watching a Australian 60 Minutes episode about the pyramids as well, like a little snippet of that. And on that, they claimed the pyramids were the most precise buildings ever created. I feel like that's really shitting on modern building makers using, lasers and stuff to create some incredible buildings. But there you go.
Yeah, what about all like those crazy buildings in the CBD that are all wonky?
Yeah, the
What
ones that
about
like
those?
look like they're falling over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're not.
Yeah.
As opposed to some shitty limestone statue that looks like it's falling over because it is.
I mean, I
You have
guess
to keep putting bricks on.
I guess when you compare the two, right, the guys who are making the wonky buildings in the city that don't fall over do have lasers and a lot of very modern technology behind that. The people who made the pyramids made them to some pretty precise measurements with some, what did they have? Some fucking sticks. And
Well, they handicapped
rudimentary tools.
themselves by putting all of the advanced knowledge of the Atlanteans in a hole.
Yeah.
They're like, we're not going to use it. We could, but we won't.
And and you've got the plans, Ramses? The plans? The ones that we just buried under the Sphinx? Yeah, those ones.
So, anyway.
All right, it's the Sphinx.
That's the Sphinx.
That's good. I enjoyed reading about the Sphinx.
Yeah.
Where can they find us? We're on Twitter, Hypothepod. We're on Facebook. You can chuck us some cash on Patreon. Thank you to Tammy, our cooked $33 sponsor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Robbo, where can they get you, mate, besides bumming around New Zealand?
aleofatime.com, aleofatime on social media. And if you want to follow the brewery progress at Shortjaw or facebook.com/shortjaw.
Get on it.
That's where you'll find it all.
Salt?
You can get me at Saltmarsh on Instagram and Twitter, and The Salt on Twitch for some art streams.
All right.
And you can get me at Sextonheimer on Twitter, gather around me, and pass around for some other things I do.
Nice one. Good. Thanks, team.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't worry about a thing, except if all our world leaders are alien reptilians. I said don't worry about a thing, except maybe the fluoride in our water supply contains mind-altering drugs. Don't worry about a thing, except whether or not Port Arthur was a false flag operation in which to disarm Australia. I said don't worry about a thing. Except you can definitely hear John Lennon say I buried Paul at the end of Strawberry Fields Forever. Ooh, don't worry about a thing. Except not only did Bush do 9/11, but he also keeps the planes out in Area 51, which, let's not forget, where all of the alien